Hi, Carol here from That Irish Schoolhouse. Welcome to my channel. I teach classes, so this is teach online classes, so this is my uniform. That's why I've been wearing blue in all my videos. For those who don't know me, I just did a 20-minute video and I'm like, Carol, you need to stop waffling. Okay, this is going to be concise because I really want to help new homeschoolers out there. So hi, welcome. 2020 is a weird year. So there are many different reasons and many different circumstances, so I'm going to try and give a general overview for each of them. There might be people who want to homeschool for a number of months and still intend to send their child back in the coming year, in the coming school academic year. There may be parents who want to keep their children home for a year or two and then send them back. And then there may be people who have always kind of considered homeschooling and this is just the push that they need. Okay, so the way that you either withdraw your child or don't send them to school is the same for all three situations. So the legal part is the same for all three situations. And that's what I'm going to go through first. Okay, when your child, whatever age, whether they're in primary school or secondary school, when your child is in school, they are on two lists: the register and the roll. The roll is what they call your name and tick you every day. If you are absent for 20 days, that's when the home liaison officer gets involved. When you're on the register, that's just a list of names of children who are under the Department of Education's register. If you are not on the Department of Education's register, you should legally, and we're going to go with what you should be doing, you should be on TUSLA's homeschool register. So ideally speaking, every single child over the age of 6 in Ireland is on one of these registers. And that is a way that the government ensures that their citizens are, being educated well, either through state schools or at home. So we're not going to go into that. So register versus roll. Okay. So when you withdraw your child, you send a letter to the principal saying, my intention is to homeschool, maybe even be grateful. Thank you for all your help in the past. Please remove my child from the roll. And you can even clarify and say, please remove them from the roll, but keep them on the register until I register them with TUSLA. Sometimes the principal doesn't know what they're talking about and they might try and say, oh, if you leave now, if you're gone for more than 20 days, you lose your place. That's not true. You must, legally speaking, according to the government, you must be on one of these registers. So no matter what your thoughts are about that, you can actually fight for the fact that, I am on the school register. Until I am on the homeschool register, I must not be taken off the school register. Okay? The Department of Education know that. The principals, I'm not sure if they do or not, because I know that moving from school to school, all they do is move the roll, but actually you're still on the register. It's a bit confusing, but anyway, so you will still have a place in that school until you are on the register for homeschooling. So for people who are thinking of homeschooling for a number of months, so we'll stick with the number of months. People who are intending on homeschooling for a number of months, the way you can get around this is send your letter of intention to your principal. Send your letter of intention to TUSLA. I will send the link below to a lady called Grainne and she will send you an application form. Send that off. You've done your due diligence. Okay. Then you'll be assessed and they will put you on the register. If by the time your assessment comes you say, oh, you know what, I only wanted to do this for 6 months or so, you cancel your assessment contact your principal again and you say so-and-so is returning to school. The principal may not be happy about it, but legally they must slot them straight back in where they were. Excuse me, because their name is still in that school register. Okay? So those are for that's for super short term, within kind of a year. Now, I'm probably an anomaly. I've been almost 2 years waiting for my assessment. So I don't know, although I've heard other people being assessed super quick within 6 months. So I don't know. That's something that you're going to have to just decide yourself. And when the assessment comes up, if you're not ready to stick with homeschooling, you then got to then make the decision, actually, I'm going to send them back to school. Super short term. Okay, gonna get this done. I can hear my kids walking around downstairs. I hope I haven't woken them. So for people who intend to homeschool for 1, 2, or 3 years until this whole thing passes, your situation is exactly the same until then the assessment comes. You go through with your assessment. And I'm going to talk about curriculum in a different video, so we'll talk about that another time. You go through with your assessment, they put you on the register. Now, because you're no longer on, can't remember what I was doing before, because you're no longer on for example, I'm in Dublin. There's lots of different schools around, but the school that we were actually in was a quite nice, small, prestigious little school. Because I'm homeschooling my child, once I'm on the homeschooling register, I will not be able to, or I'll be probably very unlikely to get my child back into that nice school that was my first choice. Okay, so that's a disappointment, but you kind of got to make that decision. When you homeschool for 2 or 3 years and then you send them back to school, either, sometimes secondary school is a good time to send them back to school because that's when people change schools anyway, or whatever way you're doing it, you're not guaranteed to slot back into your first choice school. But again, the Department of Education has a responsibility to the children. So when you decide that you want your child to go back to school, if you contact the schools in your area, and if they all say, no, we don't have a place, the Department of Education actually have to get you a place within a certain area of within your catchment area. Now, it may not be your ideal school, but it will be a school. So your child won't, if you withdraw your child for 2 or 3 years, it's not like your child will not get an education and will not get a place back at school. They will, okay? But it may not be the school that you want them to be in. It may not be the school where their friends are at. It may not be the school necessarily closest to you. So that's kind of something to weigh up. Or again, sometimes if your child is in primary school right now and you say, oh, I might homeschool for 2 or 3 years, and then when they're going into secondary school, I'll continue that process. I'll continue the application process for school, and that'll be the transition. That could work too. So that's kind of like your medium term. And then once you register and once they return to school, they're no longer on the homeschool register and they are on the school register. Then you've got people in this third camp. I'm in here too. Where you just needed a little nudge called the coronavirus to get you homeschooling. And it's exactly the same process as the first one. So if you're withdrawing your child, just send in a letter to the principal. If you haven't even registered your child, then just go ahead and start homeschooling. And you have a lot more leeway if you're in the second or third category with curriculum and with your child's learning style. So I'm going to talk about curriculum in a different video. I am just under 10 minutes, so I'm happy with that. If you have any questions, I'll put my email. I'll put my email down below as well.